Well, I think it's about time, firstly, that I post a video in general. It's been a while, but mainly that I look at the SH Figuarts No Way Home Amazing Spider-Man. I posted reviews of the Figuarts No Way Home Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, as well as the Marvel Legends Tobey and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. And with this review, I'll be closing the book on this chapter of movie Spider-Man, at least for me. Since I posted those reviews, they have announced new versions of the Marvel Legends Spider-Man. I'll mention them closer to the end. I will be comparing this new Figuarts Spider-Man to the Marvel Legends version. This will mainly be a review of the Figuarts. It won't be as in-depth of a comparison, but we'll still take a look at them side by side with articulation and stuff like that. For now, we're taking a look at this fella. So what struck me initially with this Spider-Man is the red. I think a lot of people who are a fan of this costume like the semi-reflective red, the kind of metallic look it has. And this has that going for it. It's not overstated, but it's there for sure. It's got that sheen. It catches the light in a certain way that I really like. The tone of the red is good, not quite as dark as the Marvel Legends for the red and blue. The Marvel Legends came in a little dark for me. We do have the sculpted details in the red and blue, those kind of cells you see. We do have the lines there as well. Very subtle, but we do have those lines running up and down the blue sections. We have that sculpted webbing. It's not raised too much, but it is there. Again, we see the reflection there in the back logo. Something I took notice of with the eyes is there's kind of a pearlescent quality to the paint they use. It's not just white. It is reflective, and it catches certain colors that reflect off of it. Really nice sheen to them. All the paint apps, very crisp, no running over the lines. You don't want to see that, especially with the eyes, and they look really good to me. I don't have any issues with the apps on this guy. We do have that sculpted web shooter detail on the wrist, and the little pad there on the hand. Very nice. Taking a look at them side by side, it's kind of striking, the differences. You can see what I mean with the red, darker on the Legends, and there just isn't that sheen to it. It's a little shiny because it's plastic, but it doesn't reflect light in quite the same way as the Figuarts. The black is also a lot more defined on this one. It almost looks comic book-y. I don't know if the blue is darker. There might be... They're very close. Maybe a tad, I don't know. This does have similar paint on the lenses. It also has that pearlescent look that the Figuarts has. A lot more muscle tone on this Andrew. This one's a lot leaner. This one is crazy. This one's ripped. Say what you will about this one. People feel it's a little too skinny. I don't know. I think of Andrew's Spider-Man as lanky. I would say this is more accurate to how he looks. I don't know, looking at on-set pictures and things, I do think this is more true to what Andrew Garfield looks like in costume. People also complain about the neck length on this guy. It does look a little long, especially in a vanilla pose like this. I will say when he's posed up, when you're photographing him or posing him for the shelf, it kind of doesn't show up. And I don't know about you, I don't really stand my Spider-Man just standing straight up on the shelf, so for me it's not a huge issue. Something that really irks people about Figuarts as well as the crotch, I've mentioned it in previous reviews. And there's a lot going on. A lot of moving pieces, literally. These pieces here just cover up the joint. That's all they do, they're loose, and it's just so there isn't a big gaping hole there. Again, when I've photographed and posed this guy, it didn't bother me. I get it if it's a bit much for you. People don't like the thong look. I understand. I'm not going to say anyone's wrong for that. It's there. It's absolutely there. The Legends looks cleaner in that regard, for sure. There is a sacrifice to articulation. Not that this doesn't have good articulation. It does. Just not quite as good as the Figuarts. We'll get into that in a minute. Moving on to accessories, we have a bunch of hands, including these default-looking hands. We got a pair of pointing hands, which all three of the Figuarts No Way Home Spider-Man came with. We have the splayed-out wall-crawling hands. Another set of wall-crawling hands which aren't quite as wide. Of course, he's got a pair of thwipping hands and a pair of web-holding hands. And that's it. Notably absent is a pair of fists. This Spider-Man does not come with fists. The Tobey came with fists, pretty sure the Tom Holland one did too. You could maybe fudge these web-holding hands into being fists if you're doing photography or something, but I don't know, it seems very strange. I don't know if it was a budget thing or part of the contract with Andrew Garfield, who knows, but I could have lost like these not quite as open web crawling hands in favor of fists easily. He also comes with webs. We have a pair of these short webs that go onto the wrist. We have these, which are the same thing but longer. And he has one big web that he can hold on to and swing from. It has a little hook at the end. The Garfield webs here have a bit of a frosted look to them, whereas Tobey's were clear. Kind of cool. I don't know. It's cool that there's variation in that, I guess. And that's it. There is another notable absence in that he doesn't have an unmasked head. Not only did the Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man come with one, this was supposed to come with an unmasked head. When I pre-ordered it, there was a picture of an unmasked Andrew Garfield head. And for whatever reason, Bandai cancelled it. They sent out an email saying, hey, this is no longer coming with the unmasked head. Our apologies, whatever. Which sucks, because I had already pre-ordered it. It didn't look great. It was probably the weakest of the 3 head sculpts. And they only showed one, and I think both the other ones came with 2. But either way, really unfortunate. It's something I would have liked to have had. I'd like to have the option to display the 3 of them all unmasked. I'm sure there'll be a big market for custom unmasked heads, and Hasbro's recently shown that they're re-releasing their Marvel Legends No Way Home Spider-Man, all with unmasked heads included. If you're thinking of picking those up, do note that they're missing some accessories. They don't come with all the same hands. And so for me, that really bridges the gap quite a bit between this and the Marvel Legends. Say what you will about the look and the articulation and stuff, when you compare the Figuarts Tobey to the Marvel Legends, the Figuarts had 2 unmasked heads and the little mask accessory he can hold. That's along with all the hands and webs and stuff. It's a big deal. To a lot of people, I'm sure it really put them off, this Figuarts version, and it was leaked a while ago that we were probably going to get Marvel Legends with unmasked heads, so I wouldn't be surprised if people skipped over the Figuarts thinking, I'll just wait for the unmasked Legends. Now, that head sculpt isn't great, but it still exists. It's still one you're going to be able to get. Like I said, there probably already is a big market for unmasked heads for this guy. Moving swiftly to articulation, we have neck and head joints for the SHF Andrew Garfield, whereas the Legends only has joints in the head there, so we see a fair bit more up and down as well as side-to-side articulation. The head is prone to pop off, but they can just pop right back on there. The butterfly joints, a bit more movement from the SHF compared to the Legends there. Both have bicep articulation, as well as double-jointed elbows, standard on both. The Legends has a swivel and pivot wrist, whereas the SHF has the classic Figuarts joint, where you can move it around and orient it as you wish, so you can have pivot for several angles on the wrist there. Both have 2 points of articulation for the torso, left and right there for the diaphragm. The Legends has an ab crunch which moves very far back and forward, whereas the SHF has a second joint closer to the waist there. It doesn't move quite as far back, but a bit more forward, although it is quite gappy with the Figuarts there, as you can see. The legs move forward this much, a fair bit more on the Figuarts there, and back. The Legends can't move quite as far back due to the ass sculpting. Both legs move to the side this much, a fair bit more on the Figuarts, as you can see. Both have a swivel at the thigh there, as well as double jointed knees, again a standard for both action figure lines. As well, both have a fair amount of movement with the foot back and forth, as well as side to side. Though the Figuarts boasts a toe joint, which the Marvel Legends does not have. Now, with all that said, which of these 2 is my preferred Andrew Garfield Spider-Man?
Isn't that the question of the day?
I gotta give it to the SHF. The Figuarts just does what I need it to do. Better articulation, more accessories. I prefer the colors on the Figuarts version. At the end of the day, when I'm holding the two in front of me, it's going to be the Figuarts. Now, if the question is which of them should I spend my money on, that's very debatable. Now, the Legends is good in its own right. It's without a doubt the highlight of that 3-pack. It has pretty good articulation, a good amount of accessories. There's a new version coming out with an unmasked head, albeit with less hands. And so if you're looking to buy one right now, I might recommend the Legends to you. However, if the price isn't a big deal for you, you want to know which of the two is going to do you better, it's going to be the SH Figuarts. To me, it just looks better, it's more functional, and it's going to be my Amazing Spider-Man of choice. Should it have an alternate head? Yes. Should this Spider-Man action figure include fists? Absolutely. But even without the unmasked head, without the fists, I'm still going to choose to put it on my shelf over the Legends version. It's a lot like the Deadpool comparison. If I have both in front of me, I'm going to go with the Figuarts, which allows me more options for posing. It's got more sculpted detail, it's got better articulation. But if you said I'm a casual collector, I just want a good Andrew Garfield Spider-Man for my shelf, the Legends is a good option. And if I'm honest, the gap between the two isn't that big. I think the gap between the two Tobey Spider-Man is much, much bigger. So, I don't know, if you have the Legends one, you don't have a shitty version of this character. But I think the SHF just has more to offer. Now, we'll see what comes about in a few months, or maybe a year or two. Medicom has shown a prototype of a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. As soon as a Mayfex No Way Home Spider-Man comes up for pre-order, be it the Tobey, the Andrew, the Final Swing Tom Holland, I'm going to be snapping those up. But for now, I have my shelf Tobey and I have my shelf Andrew, and they're both the SH Figuarts version. They just do what I want a Spider-Man action figure to do. So yeah, if you're in the market for a Spider-Man, I hope this video helped you. I think people are seeing these newer Marvel Legends unmasked head versions of No Way Home Spider-Man hitting the shelves soon, so those will be an option to you if you're looking to acquire one. Thank you for your patience. For anyone who is looking to see my opinion on this, I know it's been several months since my last video, but I do have a few figures I'm looking to review pretty soon here. I've had some pre-orders come through that I'm excited to look at on the channel. So I hope you enjoyed this, and keep an eye out for some Mayfex, Figuarts, and NECA reviews coming very soon. Let me know what your Spider-Man collecting journey has been. Did you get the 3-pack of Marvel Legends? What did you think of them? And if you picked up any of these Figuarts Spider-Man, let me know what you thought of those too. They're not perfect, but Figuarts Marvel output hasn't been great over the last few years, and I think these, compared to some of their figures from a few years ago, are masterpieces. Bandai's really stepped up their game when it comes to Marvel, and I'm excited to look at another SHF Marvel figure very soon. So stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching.